The drought is getting worse across the state of Florida. It is improving in some. We're going to break all of that down in this video. I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, so we're going to look at the latest drought monitor from the United States Department of Agriculture and show you where the drought has gotten way worse and where we have seen improvements. Then we're going to break down the rainfall. There's been a drastic extremes, if you will, across South Florida to parts of the Gulf Coast of Florida. We're going to show you that coming up too. And then stick around to the end of the video because speaking of drastic changes, we are going to see a kind of a weird weather pattern through Florida as we close out the month of April and start May. It's going to be very, very wet across a lot of the Florida Peninsula. We are going to break that down as well. So I think some drought-busting rain coming our direction. And, of course, we want to avoid some of that in southeast Florida where we've had way too much rain over the past couple of weeks. Hey, before we get into this video, hurricane season, unfortunately, of course, right around the corner. If you want to stay updated, you got to hit subscribe. Please do that. And if you want to stay updated on weather throughout the state of Florida, we would love to have you. Please hit that subscribe button. And if you do find this content helpful or informative or you like what you see, please give this a thumbs up. It really does help us out a lot. All right. On to the video, on to the drought monitor. This is from the USDA. It's released every Thursday. And first, you can clearly see, if you've been following this channel, where the drought has gotten worse. If you've been following the drought monitor, there it is, that big bright red from about Tampa to St. Pete, right up and down the I-75 corridor southwest of us in Ocala. Severe drought continues through parts of the Big Bend into Orlando, into Sanford, into Kissimmee, St. Cloud, into Fort Myers. And again, that's at least some improvement in Fort Myers. We were also in that extreme drought category where there's no drought anymore. Of course, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, we've been inundated with rain across the past few weeks. Certainly that historic and catastrophic event near Fort Lauderdale. And if you want to read up more on that, you can watch this video that pops up here or click that link in the description towards the end. Nonetheless, we still have that severe drought as well up parts of the Treasure Coast and Space Coast as well. So severe drought throughout a lot of Florida. I do think some improvements are going to come with that as we transition into May. Not the wet season just yet. I'll get into that, but that's towards the end of the video. All right, here we go. Year to date, we still need rain big time in Orlando. 2.83 inches on the year. That puts us more than 6.5 inches below normal. The lone green spot, and again, in some cases, it's been way too green where we've had a ton of rain over the past few weeks. Look at this, Miami picking up nearly 20 inches of rain on the year. That puts us way above normal by a little more than 10 inches. And then here we go back in the red, Tampa, about 2.5 inches in the rain gauge for the year. That puts us nearly 7 inches below normal. That is why we are now considered to be in an extreme drought. Severe drought for us in Fort Myers, about 3.25 inches below normal. Jacksonville, we picked up nearly 9 inches on the year. That puts us about 2.5 inches below normal. All right, for the month of April, things have changed a little bit. Certainly, Orlando, we picked up a little bit of rain. That still puts us nearly an inch below normal. Miami, nearly 9 inches of rain, about 6.5 inches above. And again, that has helped us get out of the drought. But of course, we've seen a lot of flooding in southeast Florida over the last couple of weeks. Only 1/4 inch just about in Tampa, about 1.5 inches below normal. And then there's where our improvements have come from. We're starting to chip away, and that's how you want to get rid of a drought. Not all at once with a flood, okay? We don't want it all at once. We need to take baby steps so the ground absorbs it. We've done that. Started to anyway. We still need some rain in Fort Myers, but it's at least better. About 1.5 inches above normal for the month of April to date. This is a sight for sore eyes for a lot of Central Florida. This is the Climate Prediction Center outlook for the next 6 to 10 days. And you see a whole lot of green. It has been a while on a widespread scale for the Southeast and for the state of Florida since we have seen an outlook like this. Now, a lot of you guys might be asking, is this the wet season? Now, the wet season is defined as we start to get those daily thunderstorms going. We crank up the sea breeze with the heating of the day. Difference in temperature between the Atlantic and the heating of the land during the afternoon helps to initiate those daily afternoon storms. This is not it just yet. We're going to have a boundary, a cold front kind of stall in North Florida, and we are going to have rounds and rounds of rain coming through, really starting on Tuesday of the upcoming work week. That is going to be on the 25th. and then lasting all the way through Friday. So we are going to end May on a very wet note. And again, this is going out from April 28th through May 2nd. So that wet pattern is likely to continue as well. So some potentially drought-busting rains on the way prior to the start of the wet season. Climatologically speaking, we get into the wet season by the end of May, early June, again, with those daily thunderstorms that kind of inconvenience your plans for about a half an hour, and then they go away. You know the drill. Go into Publix, sunny, you come out, you're in a downpour, big, nasty thunderstorm, then it clears up again. So that's not what this is just yet. But I will say that we are going to be on the wet side because of these major disturbances, or these big disturbances, rather, kind of working along that stalled boundary, giving us some rain. And we're going to get into that in more detail in our next video on this channel. That's going to be coming out on Sunday, April 23rd. So again, if you want to see that, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you are alerted to when we post new content on this channel as we focus on the weather through Florida. Again, we can use the rain through a lot of the state. I know my friends towards West Palm and Fort Lauderdale, Miami, we do not need any more rain. Unfortunately, it looks like some is coming, but nonetheless, I think the heaviest and steadiest rain should be to your north. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for watching. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from. We'll catch you next time.